So let's talk about big data. It's a term you hear thrown around everywhere, right? We're told it's going to change marketing forever, but for a lot of us, it just feels like this big, confusing buzzword. So today, we're going to cut through all that noise and show you how to turn this idea into a seriously powerful tool that you can actually use.
So, what is it really? When you boil it all down, big data is just all the massive amounts of information we have now, everything from what people are buying to what they're saying on social media. And the whole point is to take all that info and turn it into smart data, stuff we can actually act on to connect with people better.
But hang on a second. If we have more data than ever before, shouldn't every single marketing campaign be a home run? The strange thing is, that's not what happens. A lot of campaigns still fall flat, leaving marketers just scratching their heads, wondering what went wrong.
And that brings us to the first big problem, the sheer volume of it all. It's so easy to feel like you're just drowning in numbers with no idea which way is up.
I mean, on paper, it sounds perfect, right? You find the right audience, you get instant feedback, and boom, the results just pour in. But in the real world, it's often just missed targets and a bunch of confusing spreadsheets that don't seem to make any sense.
Okay, but what if we're looking at this all wrong? What if the problem isn't the data at all? What if it's how we think about it? This is where we need to totally shift our perspective.
You know, a lot of marketers, if a campaign doesn't hit its targets, they'll just call the results bad data. But check out this idea. It says that every piece of data, whether it looks good or bad, is actually fuel. It's knowledge that can power your next move. It's not a failure, it's feedback. So here's the real game changer. Instead of treating a so-called failed campaign like something you need to avoid at all costs, what if we treated it as an opportunity for discovery? So many people just pull the plug way too soon, right when they might be about to find something amazing. Okay, let me give you a perfect example. There was this motorcycle brand, right? And they assumed their audience was, the stereotypical hardcore biker type. So they launched this big campaign, and crickets. It totally bombed. But here's the smart part. Instead of just throwing it all out, they actually looked closer at the data. They asked, okay, who is clicking on this stuff? And you know what they found? Their real audience wasn't bikers at all. It was men, probably in a midlife crisis, looking for a way to feel cool again. They totally pivoted their strategy, and the next campaign was a huge hit. See? That so-called bad data wasn't bad at all. It was literally a treasure map leading them straight to their real customers. So that's a great story, but how do we actually do this? How do we turn all our data, good or bad, into smart data? Well, it really boils down to a pretty simple three-part toolkit. First up, we got to understand that data has a shelf life. Believe it or not, data expires. It gets old. And hardly anyone thinks to ask, hey, how old is this data we're using? It's the classic garbage in, garbage out problem. I mean, think about it. If you're still showing someone ads for pants a week after they bought them and now they're searching for shoes, you're just wasting everyone's time and attention. Smart data has to be timely data. All right, tool number 2 is all about visualization. And here's a great way to think about it. Would you rather read the phone book or USA Today? The phone book, that's your raw data. It's just a giant, boring brick of text. Think spreadsheets. But USA Today, it's full of colorful charts and graphs. You can understand the whole story in a second. Our campaign reports need to be a lot more like USA Today and a lot less like the phone book. And for our third tool, we have to look beyond just what people are doing online. Think about it. Big life events are massive triggers for people to buy stuff. Someone moves to a new house, starts a new job, has a baby. They're about to spend a lot of money on a lot of new things. This kind of offline data, which you can often find in public records, gives you so much incredible context that you'd totally miss if you were only looking at website clicks. Okay, so this all sounds good in theory, right? But does it actually work in the real world? Well, let's take a look at a company that put these exact principles into action and got some frankly mind-blowing results. So Philips wanted to really boost their email marketing, and their solution was pretty clever. They took all the customer data they already had and combined it with real-time signals, like what a person was looking at on their website at that very moment. And they used all this to build these super rich customer profiles and then personalized everything: the subject line, the content inside the email, even the time they sent it based on when that specific person was most likely to buy. So what happened? The results were pretty much instant. First, they saw a 90% lift in their email open rates. Just boom, 90% more people opening their emails. That's huge on its own, but it gets even better.
Because the content was so much more relevant to people, they saw a 250% lift in click-through rates. So people weren't just opening the emails anymore, they were actually clicking on the links inside.
And here's the big one, the one that really matters. They saw a massive 340% lift in clicks on their calls to action. That's the button that says buy now. Now that's what smart data looks like in action. The results really do speak for themselves. And this brings us to our final point, and honestly, it might be the most important one. Data isn't just a science, it's also an art. For way too long, online advertising has been obsessed with the technology, how we deliver the ad, and not the quality of the ad itself. But really good advertising is about telling a great story. We can use data not just to find the right people, but to craft a more valuable, entertaining, and relevant story for them. You could, for example, use weather data to change your ad copy on the fly. Simple, but so effective.
It all boils down to this, which I think says it perfectly. Targeting gets you in front of the right person, but it's the creative, the story you tell, that actually gets them to engage back. It's the perfect partnership between data and art.
So, I'll leave you with this to think about. With all this focus on big data, are we actually stopping to listen to what it's really telling us? Are we letting it challenge our own assumptions and maybe even spark our